Welcome to Hong Kong Brief. The content of the briefing includes: friendly foreign influencers win growing following in China. Japan's Sojitz buys Vietnam food wholesaler amid modernization push. Xi tolerance for property pain nears limit as rescue takes shape. PCCW is said to explore $1 billion stake sale in fiber business. Capital calls, China and iron ore. Friendly foreign influencers win growing following in China. Financial Times. China is using foreign influencers to propagate its own narrative and defend the Communist Party, according to a report by the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, ASPI. The report highlights the growing number of foreign influencers in China who regularly praise the country's food, culture, society, and government policies while criticizing the Western media. The influencers are not given detailed instructions by state media but are shaped by a mix of incentives and controls. The report argues that this strategy will make it difficult for social media platforms, foreign governments, and individuals to differentiate between genuine content and propaganda. Japan's Sojitz buys Vietnam food wholesaler amid modernization push. Nikkei Asia. Japanese trading company Sojitz is set to acquire Vietnam's largest wholesale food distributor, Dai Tan Viet, in a bid to expand its presence in the country's food distribution market. Sojitz plans to convert Dai Tan Viet into a wholly owned subsidiary by acquiring all shares from the founding family. The move follows the company's partnership with Vina Milk, Vietnam's largest dairy producer, to build a Japanese-style cattle ranch and beef processing complex. Sojitz aims to break even in its Vietnamese business by the fiscal year ending March 2024. Xi tolerance for property pain nears limit as rescue takes shape. Bloomberg. China's President Xi Jinping is putting pressure on banks to aid struggling property developers, indicating his tolerance for the sector's pain is diminishing. The move is aimed at easing the real estate industry's cash crunch and ensuring developers have enough money to complete construction projects. The measures include creating a draft list of firms that are eligible for bank support and allowing banks to lend money to developers without the need for collateral. The hope is that the new measures will help to break the cycle of defaults and systemic risks. However, some analysts question whether the measures are large enough to revive the market. Despite government calls for banks to lend more, property loans fell year-on-year in Q3, the first time ever. The bank's caution is due to the potential for bad debts. The slump in the property market is hurting the economy, consumer confidence, and labor market. PCCW is said to explore $1 billion stake sale in fiber business. Bloomberg. PCCW, a telecommunications, media, and technology conglomerate controlled by Richard Lee, is considering selling a significant minority stake in its fiber business for around $1 billion. The company is working with a financial advisor on the potential transaction and has drawn interest from Chinese investors and Middle Eastern sovereign wealth funds. PCCW could use the proceeds to reduce debt and boost growth. The company has been selling stakes in various operations in recent years, including its data center business and stakes in PCCW Lenovo Technology Solutions and PCCW Network Services. Capital calls, China and iron ore. Reuters breaking views. Commodity prices in China, particularly iron ore, are improving, suggesting that sentiment is also improving in the country. The benchmark December iron ore futures contract on the Singapore exchange is up 10% this month, reaching $133.45 a ton, due to hopes that Beijing will stimulate the property sector. Chinese regulators warn traders not to hype up the price of iron ore, however, this warning has not dampened the bullish mood. Analysts at Citi have upgraded their forecast iron ore price to $140 per ton on anticipation of increased demand from the country. The rebound in property developer stocks has also been impressive, with Country Gardens Hong Kong shares up over 60% this month and Evergrande up over 10%. The optimism on iron ore prices may continue to grow if Beijing implements further structural reforms, such as social housing provision. China's demand for steel in electric vehicles and green infrastructure has kept average prices high despite the property slump. The key players in New Zealand's new government. Reuters. New Zealand's new government, comprised of the National Party, ACT New Zealand, and New Zealand First, will be sworn in on Monday. The major players in the government include Christopher Luxon, leader of the National Party and Prime Minister, Winston Peters, leader of New Zealand First and Deputy Prime Minister until May 31, 2025, and Foreign Minister, David Seymour, leader of ACT New Zealand and Deputy Prime Minister from May 31, 2025, and Minister of Regulation, and Nicola Willis, Finance Minister and Deputy Leader of the National Party. Hong Kong dollar's rally seen extending on liquidity squeeze. Bloomberg. The Hong Kong dollar has reached its highest level against the US dollar this year due to a seasonal liquidity squeeze. The currency has risen 0.4% this month as local lenders hoard cash for year-end regulatory checks, making the carry trade of selling the Hong Kong dollar against American assets unprofitable. The one-month interbank borrowing cost in Hong Kong has climbed to nearly 5.4%, approaching its highest level since 2007. Analysts predict the currency will continue to strengthen until January before gradually easing in the following months. Train reaction: how the Ukraine war derailed the China-Europe Railway Express. South China Morning Post. The China-Europe Railway Express, a key component of China's Belt and Road Initiative, has seen a decline in cargo volumes due to the war between Russia and Ukraine. Many European traders are now seeking alternative routes to avoid Russia, leading to a decrease in cargo trains bound for Europe. The situation has effectively turned the international freight network into the China-Russia Railway Express. The China-Europe Railway Express had previously established itself as an alternative to sea and air freight, offering faster transit times and lower costs. However, the war has disrupted the route and caused a decline in demand. Asia stocks set to open mixed as dollar, oil slip, markets wrap. Yahoo! Asian markets are expected to open mixed after U.S. markets were closed for Thanksgiving. The Bloomberg Dollar Spot Index fell 0.1% and oil benchmarks slipped further on news that OPEC Plus will hold its delayed meeting online rather than in person. Hypercar maker Pagani says Europe should learn from China on EVs. Bloomberg. Italian hypercar manufacturer Pagani is looking at new technologies, including electric vehicles (EVs). Horacio Pagani, the founder of the company, acknowledged that Pagani would need to invest more in EVs and that Chinese companies could help European brands in this area. However, Pagani said it would be a while before hypercars become electric as the weight of the battery affects performance. Pagani produces 50 vehicles per year, and orders have been filled until 2025. The company is among the few remaining independent ultra-luxury car manufacturers. Huawei and Xiaomi are paving the way for an Apple EV. Bloomberg. Chinese smartphone makers Huawei and Xiaomi have entered the country's growing electric vehicle (EV) market in a move that could guide Apple if it decides to enter the EV market at a later stage. Huawei received 80,000 orders for its 80 M7 SUV in the first 50 days after its launch, while Xiaomi expects to release its EV debut in H1 2022. The company's EV strategies differ from traditional automakers, focusing on software and connectivity rather than years of vehicle development and manufacture. Warren Buffett joked he'd be eating Thanksgiving dinner at McDonald's if the U.S. government didn't bail out the banks in 2008. Yahoo! Warren Buffett has claimed he would have celebrated Thanksgiving with a McDonald's meal if the U.S. government had not bailed out banks during the 2008 financial crisis. The billionaire investor and Berkshire Hathaway CEO typically eats breakfast at the fast food chain and has one of its gold cards, which entitles him to free meals. Buffett praised the U.S. government's response to the crisis, saying the intervention was delivered. Do celebrity endorsements ever influence where we travel? Telegraph. Tourism boards have a long history of using celebrities to endorse their destinations. Visit Britain famously launched a campaign in 2012 for which it recruited a number of famous British faces, including Judi Dench, Jamie Oliver and Dev Patel, to promote the UK. The campaign was a huge success, with 12 million inbound tourists visiting the country that year, a 5% increase on the previous year. However, the effectiveness of celebrity endorsements is a subject of debate. Some argue that they increase awareness of a destination but do not necessarily lead to bookings. Furthermore, the authenticity of the endorsement can influence its success. If it feels forced or inauthentic, it is less likely to be believed. Social media has also changed the way destinations are marketed, allowing celebrities to reach large numbers of people through a single Instagram post. An example of a successful celebrity endorsement campaign is Rihanna's association with her home country, Barbados. Her love for the island has encouraged other celebrities and a younger demographic to visit. China tried using economic ties to bring Taiwan closer. It isn't working. Wall Street Journal. Taiwanese businesses are reducing their reliance on China and are increasingly pivoting towards the US and other markets. China had hoped to win control of Taiwan by convincing its people their economic futures were inextricably tied to China. However, the US replaced mainland China as the top buyer of Taiwanese agricultural products for the first time last year, a sign of the shift. Taiwanese exports to the U.S. in the first 10 months of 2023 were more than 80% higher than in the same period of 2018, Taiwanese government data shows. Taiwanese exports to the mainland were 1% lower. Taiwan's outbound investment has also shifted, moving to Southeast Asia, India, and the U.S. Trump-era tariffs and Biden administration export controls have raised the cost of sourcing from China, and in some cases prohibited it. China has also banned Taiwanese agricultural products and restricted outbound tourism to Taiwan, pushing Taiwanese businesses to look elsewhere. The U.S. and Taiwan reached an agreement in May on a number of trade and investment measures to deepen ties. Chow Tai-fook official denies rumors of family rift after patriarch's interview. South China Morning Post. Chow Tai-fook, the Hong Kong jewelry retailer, has denied rumors of a family rift over succession plans. Vice Chairman Conroy Chung-Chihung, who is also a member of the Chung family that controls the property developer New World Development, categorically denied rumors of family discord or property disputes. The family owns a business empire estimated to be worth around $28.9 billion, including interests in jewelry, property, and energy. Hey there, it's Dr. Six from the Sixth Dimension. I'm here with your weekly dose of news from around the world. Let's dive in. First up, we have a report that suggests China is using foreign influencers to spread its own narrative and defend the Communist Party. These influencers praise China's food, culture, society, and government policies while criticizing the Western media. It's a subtle strategy that makes it hard to differentiate between genuine content and propaganda. So, next time you see a foreign influencer gushing about China, take it with a pinch of soy sauce. In other news, Japanese trading company Sojitz is buying Vietnam's largest wholesale food distributor to expand its presence in the country's food distribution market. They're also partnering with Vietnam's largest dairy producer to build a Japanese-style cattle ranch and beef processing complex. Looks like Sojitz is beefing up its operations in Vietnam. Meanwhile, China's President Xi Jinping is pressuring banks to help struggling property developers. He wants to ease the real estate industry's cash crunch and ensure that construction projects are completed. Some analysts are skeptical that these measures will be enough to revive the market, but let's hope it doesn't crumble like a poorly constructed building. PCCW, a telecommunications conglomerate controlled by Richard Lee, is considering selling a minority stake in its fiber business. They could use the proceeds to reduce debt and boost growth. Looks like they're trying to connect all the dots in their financial situation. Commodity prices in China, especially iron ore, are on the rise, suggesting improved sentiment in the country. Chinese regulators have warned traders not to hype up the price of iron ore, but that hasn't dampened the bullish mood. Analysts are even upgrading their forecasts for iron ore prices. So, will the property market be able to iron out its issues? New Zealand's new government is being sworn in, and we have some major players in the mix. Christopher Luxon, leader of the National Party, is the new Prime Minister, while Winston Peters of New Zealand First is the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister. It's a new cast of characters, so let's see how they perform on the political stage. The Hong Kong dollar is rallying against the US dollar due to a seasonal liquidity squeeze. Local lenders are hoarding cash for year-end regulatory checks, making it unprofitable to sell the Hong Kong dollar against American assets. It's like a game of hoard and seek. The China-Europe Railway Express, a vital part of China's Belt and Road Initiative, is facing challenges due to the war between Russia and Ukraine. European traders are seeking alternative routes, turning the international freight network into the China-Russia Railway Express. Looks like this train has been derailed. Asian markets are expected to open mixed after US markets were closed for Thanksgiving. The Bloomberg Dollar Spot Index fell, and oil benchmarks slipped further. I guess the markets needed a Thanksgiving break too. Italian hypercar manufacturer Pagani is considering electric vehicles, EVs, and they believe European brands could learn from Chinese companies in this area. However, they say it will be a while before hypercars go electric. So, don't expect to see a lightning-fast EV hypercar just yet. Speaking of EVs, Chinese smartphone makers Huawei and Xiaomi are making moves in the country's EV market. Huawei received a flood of orders for its 80 M7 SUV, and Xiaomi plans to release its EV debut next year. Looks like they're charging ahead in the EV race. Warren Buffett has joked that he would have been eating Thanksgiving dinner at McDonald's if the US government hadn't bailed out the banks during the 2008 financial crisis. I guess even billionaires appreciate a good fast food meal. Do celebrity endorsements influence where we travel? Tourism boards have a long history of using celebrities to promote destinations, but the effectiveness of these endorsements is up for debate. Some argue that they increase awareness but don't necessarily lead to bookings. And with social media, celebrities can reach large audiences with just one post. So, next time you see a celebrity promoting a destination, ask yourself if it's a genuine recommendation or just a paid advertisement. Taiwanese businesses are reducing their reliance on China and turning towards the US and other markets. The US has become the top buyer of Taiwanese agricultural products, replacing mainland China. The shift is due to factors like tariffs and export controls imposed by the US, as well as China's ban on Taiwanese agricultural products. Looks like Taiwan is looking for new partners in the global market. Chow Tai Fook, the Hong Kong jewelry retailer, is denying rumors of a family rift over succession plans. The family behind the company is worth billions and has interests in various sectors, including jewelry, property, and energy. Looks like they're keeping it all in the family. That's all for today's news roundup from the Sixth Dimension. Remember, it's important to stay informed, but always take things with a grain of humor. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you make of China using foreign influencers to spread its narrative? And do celebrity endorsements influence where you travel? Let's discuss. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.